Jason Rice here for another Lot Party Quick Tip. And hey, we've been discussing because we've got, some dealers launching our services here. It usually takes about a week, 2 weeks to get them up and going, get them on calls within hopefully 7 to 10 days. We're looking at a lot of this pandemic window of time where some places are closing or slowing things down for a 2-week period. Some are doing a 30-day period, and some markets it's getting a little bit slower. Maybe more internet traffic, but not as much floor traffic. Good appointment set, but some not showing. But basically, this slower time is the perfect time to start setting up better processes. Just talked to one of our dealer groups yesterday, and internally, I think some of their stores had to close other than service and stuff, but their corporate office is meeting consistently. They're meeting, doing a GM meeting every day. And he told me internally, when things are good, some of the corporate processes and things that they should be managing and monitoring and expenses and stuff, kind of went to the wayside because as things were good, you could get away with being a little bit sloppy. And that goes with anything, between your internet process management to inventory management to, again, vendors and where you're spending money. One of the things I talked to, speaking of vendors, obviously we're one, but I was talking to one of my guys who, worked at a large dealer group. And, I always said, shame on us, when I was a dealership and when I was a GM and independent lot, and also when I was internet director, I leaned on my vendors a lot. I went in and made sure I got a hold of them. I wanted to hear from them. I wanted to see what else we could be doing different and better. And, I hear a lot of dealers, oh, I'm going to cancel this lead provider, lead provider. We're not getting sales. I haven't heard from my rep in 6 months. Well, shame on you, because if you're not seeing results, call them up. You're spending all this money and resources with them. Utilize that, max out that money. I was having that same conversation. I have a dealer, a call I did this morning. That dealership uses up every minute of our call. We do an hour call with our stores, and if it's 55 minutes into the call, we got a lot of stuff covered. There's 5 minutes left, and it's like, hey guys, we got a few minutes. You want to wrap things up? And it's like, no, let's go ahead and pull up some more cars. Let's change some prices. And, so maximize your vendors, maximize your price, especially nowadays, as every dealer is going through looking at expenses and wondering who's been of value to their company and who hasn't. So maximize your vendors, push them to the limits. They're there to help. You're spending a ton of money with them, but also this is the time then to reevaluate your processes. And in this slower time, you're able to tweak them and get them better. And coming from the internet sales background, that was a lot of my success was the fact that as an internet director, I let the internet managers at the store, because I was for a group, the guys at the store, they didn't have to worry about the vendor interrupting them. They didn't have to worry about doing reports and updating the website. I took that off their hands so they could focus on the process. And then I would watch those processes and then I would tweak them. And each store kind of stood on their own and how they handled them. But because I was there to help manage and monitor, gave us that success. And again, that goes into inventory management, to service drive, to upsales, to F&I, presentation, things like that. You got to start fine tuning the process. And I know there's a big saying, or the common saying is, the best of habits happen at the worst of times, and the worst habits happen at the best of times. Everybody's had good times right now. Everybody's had good, stellar record months. Used car sales have been phenomenal. You didn't have to be an expert to sell a lot of cars and make some money right now, but now's the time. Were you sloppy through all that? And now when it comes down to actually needing to buckle down and having a good process in place, is it a slippery slope for you right now and you can't get the grasp of what you need to do? But this is the time to, put in a title, slower time should equal better process management. Start tightening and getting good habits in place right now, because you might have a 2 to 4 week window. Use that time to again, however you need to do with your team. If sales has closed down, I would be, my GMs, GSMs, used car managers, I would still be meeting at least once a week, if not a couple times a week. Your inventory is still going to be online. Your inventory is still out there for sale. Make sure your photos and descriptions and everything's taken care of, new and used. I would scramble as fast as I can. If you're in these markets that, haven't had a big impact yet, scramble as fast as you can, because all you need to do is get a notification that your governor, your mayor, whatever, is decided to shut down all businesses for the next 2 weeks or 30 days. If you don't think that's happening, look at Vegas and some of these other markets, and if that happens, but you have 90% of your inventory out there, photo displayed, you could sit at your home and still make adjustments. You could sit at home playing around with photos. You could sit at home and reply to leads. You could sit at home and adjust pricing. You could sit at home and we still having weekly calls with our stores, meet every week and go, okay, here's the situation. Here's where we're going next week. And let's see what happens. And then do that each week. And so when things come back, you're set and ready to go. Seeing these headlines from these OEMs that are going to be closing down factories, right? And so the supply chain is going to be shrunk. So used is going to be really important. Get your processes finely tuned right now. You might only have a week, 2 weeks to do it, and then use, as far as if you get shut down, and then use those shutdown weeks to then fine tune everything. So when you come back, you're ready to roar. And I was mentioning to our sales director, I said, imagine that. Imagine all of a sudden you're a Chrysler, Ford store, and they're shutting down productions. And now you're wondering what's going on with your franchise. Wouldn't that dealer want to meet every week with the franchise and go, okay, Ford, Chrysler, whoever, FCA, Chevy, Honda, what's our plan? What's our plan this week? What do we look like for the next 7 days? What should I be doing as a dealer? And meet again next week and figure out where everybody stands. You need to be doing that with your used cars. You need to be doing that with new cars. You need to be, as far as internally with your own department. Each department, just because you close those doors maybe and you can't have sales, doesn't mean your management team can't meet each week. It's not a vacation. This is time to recoup, do video calls, do phone calls, recorporate, figure out what worked, what doesn't work. You can log into your systems from your home offices and as a team work together, launch these things. So whether you're still open and you can get through this stuff and not have to be shut down, or if you happen to get into a situation where you might just get shut down and it's not your choice, you still got management to do. You're still a leader of your team. You're still a leader of that inventory. And the more you guys can stay in communications and set it up, this is not a vacation. This is a workation. You're going to have to work your butt off to keep this afloat. So when you do open those doors again, and when things are, or even if you don't have to close your doors, but traffic starts picking up, this market's going to move as fast as you ever seen it. Have processes in place. Okay, good processes. Good habits form at the worst of times. And so we're going through unprecedented times right now, and it's not going to get easier. And this is the time that the strong are going to get stronger and the weak are going to fade away. So don't be left fading away. I hope this was helpful. I don't know if it's encouraging or not, but I definitely would take it as that, because it just says no matter what happens, you have control of what is going to happen at your store, with your inventory, with your people, with your processes. And this is the time to tighten that ship. If you need help with used cars, again, we meet every week. We got such deep dive in analytics of the inventory. We're capturing what every dealership that we're talking to, is it a good market, average, bad going on? We know across the country the heartbeat of what's happening in this industry when it really comes to used cars and internet process management. So if you want that help and comfort and somebody to guide you, somebody to have a therapy session with, somebody to help you, should I buy more, should I buy less, hit us up. I'm going to do specials. I'm going to help guys out because that's what I want to do. This industry means so much to me. If you guys need help, we're going to be one of the best resources for you to do that, because we're going to meet with you every week, make you accountable. And if anything, we can keep you in check to make sure that the stuff I just talked about happens. So lotpop.com, 844-LOTPOP4, jrice@lotpop.com. Again,